with more, representing Georgia's 8th Congressional District, Congressman Austin Scott. Congressman, thank you for joining me. Congressman, I guess I'll start off with gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams. I think she's sorry, but sorry that she got caught. And she apologizes, by the way, but then we saw a bunch of other pictures from the same day where she's not wearing a mask. And then we hear from the left, they're like, oh, it's not a big deal. Who cares? I mean, you probably don't wear a mask all the time. Well, we care because these are the same people who've been wanting to mask us up for over 2 years now, and they're the ones who don't want to follow the rules.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it's clearly rules for thee and not for me. If I had done that same thing, I would have been tarred and feathered by the same network that's out there trying to justify what she's done. And so Americans are smart enough, and people around the world are smart enough to know, when they need to take precautions and when they don't need to take precautions. But I think people are over this thing, right? I mean, COVID's something we've got to deal with, and let's deal with it. And so, if the mask worked, then why do you care if the other person's not wearing theirs if yours does?
Yeah. What do you think about these Democrats who are starting to roll back their COVID-19 restrictions and mandates? And now we keep hearing them say the same sentence over and over again. The science has changed. Well, tell us what science and what data has changed, because last I checked, nothing's changed.
Yeah, the science has not changed. I mean, their people are just as fed up with them trying to micromanage their lives as Republicans are of them trying to micromanage their lives. So this America, we're a free country, and we don't need the government micromanaging us. And that's what you're seeing around the world, right? I mean, that's what you're seeing in Canada right now. People are sick and tired of the government trying to tell them anything and everything that they can or have to do in their lives. And so people are fed up with it. The Democratic Party recognizes that they're fixing to take a shellacking because of their attempts to micromanage everything. And so now they're trying to reverse course, and Americans see through what they're doing.
Yeah. They must have seen some internal polling or something. Obviously, the polling that we've talked about on this show showed that the majority of Americans thought Biden was leading us in the wrong direction in regards to the pandemic. Okay. But I would just imagine it must be even worse than what we're thinking. And as the midterms are approaching, that's what's making them change their minds. It's not that they had a second thought here. Maybe we should give Americans back their freedom. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just they don't want to be slaughtered in the midterm elections. And it's disgusting that they've made this so political. And think of all the lives that have been destroyed, the businesses, and all the struggles that Americans have gone through the past 2 years.
Well, there are a lot of other lives that are about to be destroyed in Europe because we've got a president of the United States that's been operating under the assumption that Vladimir Putin's been bluffing with regard to the Ukraine. People need to know Putin just moved his $100 million mega yacht out of Germany because if he moves into the Ukraine, it's going to be seized. His landing ships have just arrived in Crimea so that he can attack the Ukraine not only from the east but the west, but the south. I mean, so he's got the ability to attack Ukraine from the east, from the south, and the north right now. And so as Vladimir Putin has been increasing his options, the president of the United States has been acting as if the whole thing's a bluff from Vladimir Putin. He lifted the sanctions on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. I mean, this president that we've got, he thinks he can negotiate with the Taliban and say pretty pleased with them. He thinks he can negotiate with Vladimir Putin, who's a former KGB agent who believes in killing his enemies. And this thing's about to get a lot worse over the next several weeks, I'm afraid, with what I expect Putin to do inside the Ukraine. And candidly, the White House still acts like they think Putin's bluffing. I'm not aware of any time in the history of the last several decades where Vladimir Putin has bluffed on anything like this.
Yeah, no, it's so unfortunate. I mean, obviously, our enemies see weakness in the White House, and that is Biden. And I think the biggest announcement to the world was our handling of Afghanistan, and that should never be forgotten. I mean, keep in mind, there's still Americans who want out of Afghanistan, and those who had helped us in Afghanistan, our allies there, who want out. And they're still there. And the White House doesn't have a plan. In fact, they just want to turn the page completely on what happened in Afghanistan, and they expect us to move on and then trust them when it comes to foreign policy. And as you pointed out, the dealings with Russia right now, I mean, Putin is on the move.
Yeah, that's right. There's no news coming out of Afghanistan at all. If it was, it would be horrible for the administration. I know several people that are still trying to get their interpreters out of Afghanistan. That has become an extremely difficult mission to get people who fought with us, right, side by side with us in that country and carrying out the U.S. mission. And I wish there was more news coming out of Afghanistan, because I think there would then be the demand that America step it up with regard to getting the people out of there that had actually worked with us and helped with us. Unfortunately, there's just no news. There's no way to get the facts out of that country. Now, with things moving to Russia and the Ukraine, you're going to see another news story that unfortunately is going to be the end result of the weakness in the White House with an administration that has operated in the last several months under the belief that Vladimir Putin was bluffing. And as I said before, Putin's not a bluffer. He's a former KGB agent who kills his enemies.
I think, I mentioned Biden's approval rating, that hit just record low numbers, 39%. That's pretty bad. And I think part of that equation is the fact of the handling of the withdrawal in Afghanistan. Also now the chatter of Russia. People aren't excited for U.S. involvement. And I understand that it is a difficult situation and it's complicated, but people aren't eager to send American troops out there.
That's right, but it's not just about the Ukraine. This is about all of Europe. This is about Vladimir Putin trying to control both the economy and the security situation of our NATO allies. And so, if he is able to pick off the Ukraine, if you will, you don't need to operate under the impression that he's going to stop at the Ukraine. He is not going to stop with Ukraine. He's never stopped, and he's never paid a price for his incursion into these other countries. So he went into Georgia in the 08 Olympics. He took Crimea in the 14 Olympics. He never paid a price for those things. If you remember back in the Obama administration, instead of sending weapons to the Ukraine so they could defend themselves from Russia, which would have been the right thing to do, we sent them blankets and medical kits. Well, you can't fight the Russians with blankets and medical kits. We should have sent the weapons back then. We should have made Russia pay a price for their incursion in the Ukraine back then. We didn't do it, and now there's another incursion coming. But what you have to understand about Vladimir Putin and Russia is they are not going to stop at the Ukraine.
They won't, yeah. And again, as you pointed out, we shouldn't have signed off on Nord Stream 2 to begin with, and so that put us in a bad spot. I wanted to go back to, you mentioned this, the Canadian truckers. They're also fighting against government tyranny there. This is something that, we can relate to very closely. And I really hate what I'm seeing there. We've seen some of the footage of officers going out and stealing fuel from the truckers. We've seen how the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has treated the truckers and those who are out there. He's slandered them. He's called them names, called them racist. Some pretty vicious vitriol there coming from the Prime Minister. Instead of just listening to their concerns, which is the fact that they want medical freedom, that's all. 90% of the truckers are already vaccinated. So it's not that this is an anti-vaccine crowd, but they're just for freedom. And I also hate how our mainstream media has been treating the truckers in that protest here in the United States. They feel threatened and they don't want anything like that happening in this country. I wanted to play a video that's going viral. It's of a 78-year-old grandpa being arrested for honking his horn in support of the Freedom Convoy. Let's take a look, roll tape.
Stop harassing old men. You don't have to show them anything. It's against the law. You just... For what? Hey. What are you doing? Hey, hey! That's assault. I've got it all on video.
You failed to ID.
Yeah, he failed to ID.
Get back. Hey, get back.
Stop. Get back. So despicable. This is something that you would expect to come out of China, not our neighbor Canada.
Mm-hmm. No, he's a great grandfather, actually, I believe, not just a grandfather, and this is absolutely ridiculous. This is totally unnecessary. This is the type of things that happen candidly in socialist and communist countries, not in free countries. And I think that's where you're seeing this resistance is coming towards what's happening in America and Canada and other democracies. Is that the people that are running our democracies right now are acting more like they're kings instead of elected officials. People are worn out with it, and so I'm glad that someone was there to video it. I'm glad the video came out. I wish that Trudeau would come out and defend that great grandfather's right to stand in solidarity with people who are sick and tired of being pushed around by people who don't believe in freedom.
Yeah, no, it's so chilling. And then also just to think of the attacks on the truckers who keep Canada moving. How can they survive without truckers? Everything that everyone needs in their day-to-day lives comes from a trucker. And they don't realize that. There's just an attack on the working class, which we've seen in this country, too. That's why I've been so interested in what's happening in Canada, and we've been talking a lot about it on this show.
Well, I can assure you, every American is feeling the end result of bad public policy with regard to transportation in this country. When you look at diesel in the state of Georgia right now, that's about $4.30 a gallon. Whether it's toilet paper or chicken or steak or whatever it is you're buying at the grocery store or wherever you shop, virtually everything goes to the store in a truck that runs on diesel. And bad energy policy inside the United States has raised the cost of everything that we buy on a daily basis. And Americans recognize that. And Democrats and Republicans and independents and all are sick and tired of it. And so you've got an administration that naively approved the pipeline for Russia, at the same time canceled the pipeline for the United States, which raised the price of fuel around the country. It gave Vladimir Putin billions and billions of dollars with which he could carry out his military exercises. And we've got people in the White House that are sitting around, again, acting as if Vladimir Putin's bluffing. And candidly, I think there's a pretty big war right around the corner.
Yeah, so disturbing. And you look at the Biden administration, what their priorities are right now are crack pipes. They're going to dole out $30 million to some clean crack pipe program. And it's just outrageous. And I wish I was kidding or joking, but I'm not. This is real stuff. Well, Congressman, we're out of time. We're going to leave it here. Thank you so much.
Hey, Stephanie, thank you.